Welcome to the REDX Circle Prospecting Summer Series. Thanks so much for joining us today. Go ahead and drop a line in, tell us where you're from. We have an awesome guest with us today, Jeff Glover. I want to do a quick intro for him before we get started. Jeff started his real estate career at the age of 19 with a strong focus on learning how to prospect, present, and close. He quickly became the top agent in his office. After selling 31 homes in his first year, he was sought out by one of the largest firms in Michigan to manage one of their offices. After becoming the top leader 2 years in a row in that company, the 17 office firm with over 600 agents promoted Jeff to be their director of training and recruiting. After a few years in the role, Jeff started what is known today as Glover Agency. Glover Agency has just 40 agents, selling nearly 1,000 homes annually, and maintains the highest per person productivity of all companies in Michigan, and has been the #1 home selling team statewide for 10 of the last 11 years of all brands. Jeff is known industry-wide as a top sales and leadership trainer, mostly because he's in the trenches with you, dealing with the same things as you day in and day out. That's right. Jeff not only talks the talk, but he walks the walk, averaging over 100 closings per year personally over the last 10 years. In addition to selling real estate, Jeff enjoys spending time with his wife Sunshine and stepson Maddox. And when Jeff and Sunshine aren't out helping the local community through their nonprofit, Glover's Heroes, you can find them on their boat in South Florida or on a golf course somewhere in Michigan. Jeff, thanks so much for joining us. Welcome.
Awesome. Let's do this. Well, thank you, Hannah, and the folks at REDX. Thanks for having me on. And as Hannah mentioned, for those that are not familiar, my name is Jeff Glover from Detroit, Michigan. I've been listing and selling real estate now. This May, I entered into my 24th year. And if I'm in your shoes, I may be wondering, why should I pay attention to what this guy has to say? Today, there's tons of options. Left, every time you turn around, someone's an expert, someone's a guru, someone's got it all figured out, and they're teaching you their ways. And I actually don't claim to be any of those things. In fact, I'm just a producer who happens to share what it is that I do. I know, of course, people are calling me the fastest growing training and coaching company on the planet right now, and I appreciate that. But really, it just stems from sharing what it is that we're doing day in and day out. Just to give you an idea, over the past decade, the last 10 years, I have personally averaged over 100 transactions a year myself. That does not even include what our team of 32 full-time salespeople here in Detroit, and we've got a handful in Grand Rapids do, which is somewhere around 950 to 1,000 units per year. And by the way, again, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that because I'm here today, not as a trainer, not as a presenter. I'm here as a producer, just like you. And so I appreciate you guys being here. I know REDX does as well. So I see a lot of you are dropping in the chat where you guys are joining us from. I love that. That's awesome. Keep doing so. And if this is your first time ever seeing me speak and you're a first timer, drop that in the chat as well. If you're a first timer, I love seeing some of our first timers on. Yeah, Buffalo in the house. All right. First timers, Ohio, Hudson Valley, New York. Okay. DFW. There we go. All right. All right. All right. Awesome. Good to see you guys. We got anyone from Canada? Where's our Canadians at? We got anybody from outside of you too, Gina? Good to see you. Anyone outside of the US or Canada? We had somebody on, there we go, Ontario, just across the river from me. We had somebody on from Nepal last time. They were on a webinar. It was like 10 o'clock at night. It was 10 a.m. here or 11 a.m. here and 10 o'clock there. Anyways, well, good to see everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm excited to jump in. This topic, hybrid farming and circle prospecting, has a real deep and special meaning to me, which I'll get into in just a second. But before we do, I want to make sure you're taking advantage of the handful of free resources that we offer you. And so if you're not already familiar, every single day, every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, I'm writing a message that's specifically designed to help you list and sell more real estate. And if you're receiving the daily message and you're getting value from that, do me a favor, just drop a 777 in the chat. I want to see who is using the daily message and getting value from that. I'm writing that every single day based on what's happening in my business, and it's the same things that you guys are dealing with. So it looks like a lot of you have subscribed to the daily message. Awesome, awesome. If you're like, how do I get signed up? I'm going to gift you a subscription right now. It's super. Hey, Al, good to see you. Thanks for being on, Al. I'm going to give you the formula to get signed up right away. It's super simple. Take out your cell phones and open up your text messages. You're going to text the word morning. Here we go, Angelica. I'm going to help you with it. Text the word morning to 55444. Text the word morning. There it is in the chat to 55444. I know it's only 5 digits, but it works. It's going to ask you your first name, your last name, your email address. Just like that, you're signed up. It's a daily message that comes out via email. So take advantage of that. Thank you, Jim. That's very kind of you. I appreciate that. If you're in Canada, all right, the text service thing does not work if you're in Canada. You just email us info@gloveru.com, info@gloveru.com, and put in the subject line daily message. In the body of the email, just put your first name, your last name, your phone number. We'll get you signed up for it. All right. If you're in Canada, that's how you sign up for the daily message. There's a handful of other free resources on the screen that you see there. The easiest way to get your hands on all of those is going to be to download the GloverU app. But the one thing that is not necessarily accessible through the app is GloverU AI. So you can scan that QR code. It's going to take you right to the app. If you want to start using GloverU AI, you can do so. Sometime after the session, just go to gloveru.ai. That's Glover, Glover, the letter U.ai. Take advantage of our AI system that's helping agents now all over the world. Why did we create that? We created GloverU AI because, quite honestly, as a producer myself, I was kind of sick and tired of all the advice that I was seeing ChatGPT and Claude give real estate agents. You have to understand a lot of that advice is pulled from webinars and from content of people who are not producing. And so, they're giving their advice, but they haven't sold a house in the last decade. GloverU AI is content that is 100% written by me and our coaches who are all in the trenches with you. So in case you're wondering why it's different, I just use ChatGPT. Well, listen, this is the brain of someone who's in production with you. So today's topic, hybrid farming versus circle prospecting. Let's talk about how this came about for a second. It was probably 2013, and I was having agents who wanted to join my company, but they didn't have a lot of money for marketing. They didn't have a lot of money for farming, and they also didn't really want to prospect. They didn't want to cold call expireds and for sale by owners. And so if you've been in the business long enough, you know that if you don't have money for marketing or experience in marketing, and you don't want to cold call, your options of how you're going to build your business can become, quite limited. And so I came up with this concept of hybrid farming, and what hybrid farming is essentially a blend of traditional farming and circle prospecting. And the reason why I came up with the hybrid farming and circle prospecting method is because it was taking agents way too long to get results with farming and was too expensive. And again, agents didn't want to prospect and cold call for circle prospecting. And so what really took place is I took the best of what I knew of circle prospecting and the best of what I knew about traditional farming, and I blended the two together to create hybrid farming. In fact, there's a YouTube video dating back to, I think, 2013, long before GloverU ever even existed, of me sharing, what this hybrid farming concept is, because I wanted to get real estate agents who were brand new to the business up and running quickly. At the time, we were a team where all we did was cold call expires and for sale by owners. But I recognize that agents do have other talents other than just cold calling, the ones that are willing to cold call. And so I had to find a blend to get people into production faster. And so that's actually when hybrid farming was born. Now, fast forward to today, 2026, there's agents all over North America who are using our method of hybrid farming at a high level, having a lot of success with it. And of course, it's today in the top 5 of our sources of listing taken and listing sold business. And so what that might not mean a lot to you, but just to give you an idea, we're taking on average 75 to 85 listings per month right now. So 75 to 85 listings per month, and this one being in our top 5 of listings taken. In fact, I think it was number 3 or number 4 last year. So it's moved up from 5, 4, 3. And so this is a big source for us. It's one that I'm super excited to share with you. And by the way, it's one of the biggest advantages that we have in working with REDX is it's so easy for them to get us the data in these hybrid farms. And I know they'll share that with you later. But let me share with you first, so we're all on the same page. Hybrid farming versus circle prospecting. I want to make sure we're speaking the same language, because I know we have a lot of people on from a lot of different brokerages. And so this is hybrid farming versus circle prospecting. Do we have a slideshow still, or did we? I can't see everything on the screen. Um, so hybrid farming versus circle prospecting. So circle prospecting, by the way, by definition, is reaching out to a neighborhood or community. Circle prospecting is reaching out to a neighborhood or community to make them aware of our new listing sold, or new buyer sale. Circle prospecting. So this is hybrid farming versus circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is reaching out to a neighborhood or community to make them aware of your new listing, new listing sale, or new buyer sale. Everyone's familiar with that. By making them aware, by the way, of your new listing or sale, you're displaying a high level of credibility in the community. And that will lead to favorable conversations. But here's the flaw in circle prospecting. Circle prospecting is not consistent enough for you to gain real traction in a neighborhood to where people recognize you as the go-to. Because if you think about it for a second, circle prospecting is based on listings and sales. Well, look at your last 10 listings or sales. Your last 10 listings or sales were probably scattered around your market. You had one 10 minutes north, you had one 15 minutes east, you had one 20 minutes south. Your listings and sales are always all over the place. They're not always in that same pocket. They're not in that same community. And the law of advertising says that a consumer needs to be familiar with you. They need to see or hear about you and your services 7 times before it finally registers who you are and what you do. There's a reason why car dealerships never just they never just run one radio ad, right? Attorneys never just have one billboard, right? They know the law of advertising is that the consumer has to see or hear from you 7 times before it clicks who you are and what you do. So the flaw in circle prospecting is there's just not enough frequency in the same neighborhood for people to recognize you as the go-to real estate agents for the neighborhood. Now, if you're thinking that I'm suggesting not to circle prospect, that's not what I'm suggesting, because I actually use circle prospecting method as part of my hybrid farming routine, I'll get to the definition of hybrid farming in a second so you can see the difference. So when you think about your circle prospecting efforts, how is it then that agents do get results from circle prospecting? Well, agents get results from circle prospecting because a little thing in the brain called the reticular activator. All right, the reticular activator in the brain essentially sends a signal every time you see something that has already been on your mind to the brain to make you more aware of it. I'll give you an example. So, for instance, you've been shopping for a new car and you finally own this new car. All of a sudden, it seems like every time you turn around, I mean, unless it's like an Aston Martin DB9 or something like that, every time you turn around, you see the car everywhere. All of a sudden, everyone's driving the same car. Okay, this same thing happens in a neighborhood when a for sale sign goes up. This same thing happens in a neighborhood when people check Zillow and get notified a new listing, or some other company sends them a notification that something has been listed in their neighborhood. A new listing in a neighborhood creates conversation. If you're wondering why circle prospecting is effective, it's not as effective as hybrid farming. That's why we created our own version of it. But if you're wondering why it is effective, is because if 100 people in the neighborhood are aware of this new listing that just came on the market, then the 2 or 3 people in the neighborhood that were thinking about maybe doing something are now, their awareness of that is now elevated, which means it's going to lead to conversations in the home. It's going to lead to a conversation after the first drive home passing the for sale sign. Hey, did you see the Johnsons listed their house for sale? Oh yeah, I already looked it up on Zillow. I can't believe what they're asking. And if they can get that, imagine what we can get for our home. And then all of a sudden you end up working the neighborhood the very next week and you happen to catch them in the right place at the right time. That's why circle prospecting is and can be effective, because you catch people at the exact moment that they were thinking about doing something. Again, the flaw in circle prospecting is you only get the business in that moment though. You don't get a whole lot of future business unless you start working the neighborhood in a farming-like fashion. Do you see the difference? Circle prospecting is, you get in there, you get the listing, you get it sold, you get the message out, you get postcards out, maybe you call everyone and let them know, maybe you door knock, and you move on. And you get a listing or two. With hybrid farming, I'm not just getting a listing or two in the neighborhood, I'm becoming their family realtor. I'm becoming the person that they refer their friends and family to. And you're going to see why that is in just a second. So that's circle prospecting. Let me share with you the definition of hybrid farming. So, circle prospecting, again, reaching out to a neighborhood or community to make them aware of your new listing sold, or new buyer sale. Hybrid farming defined, and write this down. Hybrid farming defined is reaching out to one particular neighborhood or community consistently once per month. Reaching out to one particular neighborhood or community consistently once per month to add value to that group. Reaching out to one particular neighborhood or community consistently once per month to add value to that group. Do you see the difference? Circle prospecting is reaching out to let them know of your listing or sale. Hybrid farming is reaching out once monthly to add value. Now, by the way, the value could be, and I'm going to share with you in a second the different levels of value that you could provide. The value could be market data. You could actually reach out to a neighborhood once a month for 12 months in a row and make them aware of all the listings and sales in the neighborhood, and you will own that neighborhood. That's the difference between hybrid farming and circle prospecting. Now, what we found, though, is that if we just use the circle prospecting scripts, if we just make them aware of listings and sales, we will get some business from the neighborhood and we will get referrals from the neighborhood. But what you won't get is you won't have people that are excited to be a part of your database. You won't get people that are excited to refer you regularly because you're really just kind of the guy or the gal that's updating them on what's going on in the neighborhood. So what does real value look like? Well, real value looks like, on the next slide, I'll give you an example of monthly touches. Here is exactly what you could do each month to add value. Hybrid farming touches. This is exactly what we're doing. And I'm going to show you several examples of these in just a second. This is exactly how you could add value to the neighborhood once monthly. Now, all of a sudden, I guess what you might be gathering here is, because some of you might have figured it out by now, essentially what you're doing in your hybrid farm is you're treating the hybrid farm as if these people were in your past client or sphere of influence database. Doesn't it feel like that? You're adding, think about your database. You add value to your database regularly. Maybe you add value to your database monthly. But if you want to absolutely own a neighborhood, and just so we're clear, when I say own a neighborhood, I'm talking more than 50% market share, which we'll get into how we pick a neighborhood, what neighborhoods are better for hybrid farming than others, some examples. We're going to get into all that in just a second. But you absolutely could get over 50% market share. In fact, we have several agents that are using our hybrid farming system, even on my own team, that are over 50% market share, and they've only been working in their neighborhood for 18 to 24 months. In fact, I've got a very good story that I think is worth sharing with you. Our current CEO of the Glover Agency, her name is Taylor Kerrigan. She spent 10 years as my executive assistant, and after 10 years, she said she wanted to learn how to be in sales. She wanted to lead the sales team. She wanted to lead Glover Agency as a bigger role, such as CEO. She wasn't quite clear of the role at the time, but she knew she wanted more than just to be known as the operations gal. For those of you that are familiar with her, she's famously known for creating operations coaching in the industry. She runs a program called Systems of Real Estate here at Glover U and knows everything like the back of her hand as it relates to operations. She's had to implement all my crazy ideas through the years. Well, it was probably 3.5 or so years ago, she came to me and said, hey, I want more. I don't want to just be branded as the operations person. I want to learn sales. I want to lead the team one day. What do I need to do? And I said, well, you need to walk a mile in the agent's shoes. And she said, well, what does that mean? I said, you need to list and sell real estate. So if you can imagine an executive assistant type personality for 10 years had to go get a real estate license and go on listing appointments and meet with buyers and do all the same things that you and I do every single day. That's a huge shock to someone's system. And so the very first question she had, which I understood, was, well, where is my business going to come from? And my response to that was, well, your business is going to come from a source that you're going to need to implement and master. She said, right, but I haven't really been promoting the fact that I'm in real estate. I've just been on the operations side. I don't want to prospect and cold call. What source, and so I don't have a database. What source of business should I go after? And I suggested hybrid farming. And so she went all in on this graph that you see on the screen. Okay, she followed it to a T. And this is no exaggeration. All right, if you get a chance to get to one of our events and you see her, you can ask her about this. Within 18 months, she had 50% of the active listings in her hybrid farm within 18 months. And so when people ask the question, yeah, but I don't like farming, Jeff, because it takes forever. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of money. No. Look at this stuff. This is cheap. This is inexpensive stuff. And I'm going to show you some of the examples of this stuff in a minute. I bet her annual budget for her neighborhood is probably less than $2,500. I mean, most of these things she can accomplish with $200, $300, $400, $500. And so one thing that also, if you're on a slimmer budget, if you're like, Jeff, $2,500 for the year, I don't have $250 for the year to spend on marketing right now. Cool. Then you can just call every month and give market updates. I'm going to give you the script for that in just a second. But the reason why I'm sharing this story with you is because in 18 months, she got up to 50% market share of a community of like 350 homes. Okay. What did that mean? That meant like 8 or 9 listings in her name within 18 months. You understand, agents work years, sometimes a decade, to have that level of market share in a neighborhood. Because why? Because most agents are still using the traditional farming methods. Okay, that's why I created hybrid farming. We don't traditionally farm, we hybrid farm. Hybrid farming is a cross between circle prospecting and traditional farming. It is essentially treating the neighborhood as if they're in your database. And so how do you choose a hybrid farm? I want you to write this down. You want to pick a hybrid farm that has 3 to 5% turnover every year. You want to pick a hybrid farm that has 3 to 5% turnover every year. I'm going to encourage you to lean more towards the 5% if you can. So in other words, for every 100 rooftops, there's 5 transactions. Actually, technically, for every 100 rooftops, there's 10 because you have both sides of the transaction. So I want you to pick a farm that has 5%. Every community across North America has neighborhoods that have 5% turnover. I promise you. Well, Jeff, how do I find it? Okay. REDX can help you with that. Okay. There's a reason why REDX, what I love about REDX, and this is not any sort of sales pitch or anything about them. This is just what I love. They not only provide data to the real estate industry, the folks from REDX attend Glover U events and they sit in the audience and they take notes on how they can create systems to help agents be more successful on the stuff that I'm doing, the stuff that we're teaching. Okay. They created something specifically for agents that want a hybrid farm. So they're going to make your life a lot easier if you have REDX. Take advantage of that. Anyways, you're going to want to pick a neighborhood that has 5% turnover, minimum of 3%. Well, Jeff, I got a neighborhood that I really, really like that's only at 2.5% turnover. Again, you take the total number of houses, rooftops. So if you have a neighborhood of 100 houses, which by the way, I prefer a neighborhood that's more like 250, 300. You take a neighborhood of 100 or 200 houses, you find out how many sales take place annually in that neighborhood. So watch, if you have a neighborhood of 100 houses and you have 5 sales annually, that's a 5% turnover. That means 5% of the houses turn over every year. I want a neighborhood with at least 5%. 3 would be the minimum. Because here's why. If you pick a neighborhood that has 2.5% turnover, and I pick a neighborhood that has 5% turnover, we could do the exact same things, and I'm going to get twice the results that you are. All right, your MLS might be able to help you with this if there's a tool that you can use through them. Obviously, REDX can help with that as well. So pick a neighborhood that has 5% turnover or more. That's the goal. Some communities have neighborhoods with 6, 7, or 8% turnover. All right, I'm looking for 5. That's the sweet spot, okay? That's how you choose the farm. I want to make sure when you start your hybrid farming plan, which we're going to get into some of the examples here in a second, I want to make sure you understand that there's three goals of hybrid farming, okay? It's not just to immediately get a listing, although some of you are going to get a listing pretty quickly. There's three goals of hybrid farming, and I want you to write these down. Goal number one is to build your database. At a minimum, everyone in here is going to get into a relationship with people that you're going to wind up knowing. They're going to end up liking you. They're going to end up trusting you. These are people that see, this is a big difference between hybrid farming and traditional farming. In traditional farming, you just become known as the go-to for the neighborhood, which is not bad. That's a good thing. Okay. Traditional farming, you become known as the go-to, but it costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. In hybrid farming, because you're adding value, see the difference between, again, I love having this conversation because traditional farming is, I call it traditional farming because it is that. It's traditional. You are seriously just the marketer of the neighborhood. You are known as the agent that markets the neighborhood, which is great for getting listings and sales in the neighborhood. But if I show up and I follow my hybrid farming plan and you're the marketer of the neighborhood, I'm going to get into much greater rapport with everyone else in the neighborhood. I'm not only going to get their listings and sales, swipe them right out from underneath you, but I'm going to get the referrals of their family and friends. Why? The difference is I'm adding value monthly versus sending a postcard monthly or quarterly. So the first goal of hybrid farming is to build your database. The second goal of hybrid farming is to get referrals. So I can build my database, so I can get more listings and sales in the future. I can get referrals from the people, by the way, build a database so I can get more listings and sales in the future from the people in the neighborhood. But number two, and this is why it's different than traditional farming, I'm going to get referrals. In traditional farming, you don't get as many referrals because, again, you're just kind of branded as the go-to person for the neighborhood. In this case, with hybrid farming, you're not only branded as the go-to person in the neighborhood, but you're adding so much value that they want to refer you to their friends and family. And then the third goal of hybrid farming is to get immediate business. To get immediate business. Because there are situations where you're going to go out and follow that 12-month plan. And the first time you go out, someone's going to give you an immediate listing. Someone's going to invite you in and ask you for an idea of what their home is worth. I remember I was sharing this with a team that we coach up in Canada, and their whole team went out and they started hybrid farming a neighborhood. They followed the exact 12-month plan. They didn't do every single month exactly, but meaning they did something of value every single month. And the very first time they went out, they had 3 appointments set. First time out, 3 appointments set. Now, I don't want to tell you that that's the norm. I don't want to tell you can expect that. But what I will tell you is that with hybrid farming, you can start to experience consistent regular business after 6 to 9 months. 6 to 9 months versus 18 to 24 like we see with traditional farming. So let's dig into some of these examples. Well, first, before we get into the example, I want to make sure we're all on the same page with the script. All right. So sorry, I got ahead of myself there. I want to make sure when it says call into the neighborhood, I want to make sure that we are on the same page with the script. Okay. On the left-hand side of your screen, you see a circle prospecting script. Works wonderfully. All right. This is exactly what we use every time we have a listing or sale. This, if you just want to circle prospect, this is great. Now, if this is your first time, you pick your Jeff. Hey, I got my hybrid farm. I found a neighborhood with 6.5% turnover. I'm all in on this farm. Awesome. Then you're going to start with the script on the left. Hi, my name is Jeff Glover with blank, and I wanted to give you a quick update on your home's value. Don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm just informing all of our neighbors that in the last 30 days, there have been 3 listings, 2 sales, and 1 just closed last week. Now, really important piece of the script here, okay? I wanted to give you an update on your home's value. Don't worry, I'm not here to sell you anything. That is very much an effective way to keep them standing in the front of the door with the door open. Now, you can use this over the phone as well. So you would just say, don't worry, I'm not calling to sell you anything. All right. So I prefer your first point of contact is in person. If you want it to be over the phone, that's fine. Again, REDX can get you the data for these. Don't worry, I'm not calling to sell you anything if it's over the phone. I'm just informing all of our neighbors, and I want you to underline, or I want you to make a note of this in your notes. Okay, you'll be able to, I got a feeling REDX is going to share the replay afterwards. I want you to, if you're going to grab a screen grab of this or whatever, I want you to make a note. all of our neighbors, informing all of our neighbors. Why am I suggesting that you emphasize that? Because I want to give them the impression that I am a neighbor, okay? Now, you could ask 10 people what their definition of neighbor is, and they'd give you all sorts of definitions. And quite frankly, I don't care. If I'm working in the neighborhood, then I'm a neighbor. If I live in the community, then I'm a neighbor, all right? So I'm just here to inform you that, and all of our neighbors, that in the last 30 days, there's been 3 listings, 2 sales, 1 just sold. And we know that when a few homes list or sell, usually 1 or more go up right away. So I was wondering, by the way, that's the reticular activator piece. We know when one lists, another one goes up right away. So I was wondering, who do you know they'll like to move into our neighborhood? Can you think of a neighborhood, or I'm sorry, can you think of a neighbor, a relative, a friend that may be interested in making a move right now? That's the trigger question. I get asked all the time, why do you ask the question twice? All right. Yes, thank you, Craig. You guys can go to download all of our scripts in the Glover U app. All of our new scripts should be in there. We released them at our retreat last month, so we've gone through and updated all of our scripts. I appreciate you taking the time to think about it. Tell me, when do you plan on moving? How long have you lived here? Where did you have to move from? By the way, at the end, number 9 is so critical. Again, I appreciate your time. And would it be of value to you if I kept you on my list to receive equity updates on your home from time to time when a home is listed or sold in the neighborhood? It's very hard for them to say no to that. Watch how I phrase this. Would it be of value to you if I were to keep you on my list to receive equity updates on your home from time to time when a home is listed or sold in the neighborhood? Great. What's the best number to reach you on? Now, of course, if I'm over the phone, you're going to say, great, what's your email address? Because you already have their phone number. You already have their address. You're going to get a valid email address from them. If you're at their door, perfect. What's the best number to reach you on? And your email address is. Now, if you have someone at the door who says, well, I don't want to give you my phone number. No problem. You can just give me your email. I'll send it to you that way. That's fair. If they're not giving you their phone number, at least get the email. At least get some more information of value that you can add back to your database. All right. This script on the left, I'm telling you, every time you have a listing or sale, or every time someone in your office has a listing or sale, you will get an appointment from this script as long as you're working in a neighborhood that has 100 to 150 doors. This is proven. Okay. This is just, by the way, if you're wondering, Jeff, your scripts, we hear from people all the time, your scripts are amazing. Your scripts are amazing. Well, first of all, I have learned these scripts from people that have gone before me, and I've just updated them. I've modernized them for what's going on in the market today. People ask, Jeff, why do your scripts change all the time? Well, because we're updating them. I'm in the trenches with you, so I know what consumers are saying. But this script on the left is designed to keep them talking. It's designed to keep the door open. Now, if I'm going into the neighborhood back for a second time, all right, then I'm going to use the script on the right. Now, this is if I'm going to do the hybrid farming phone call or the hybrid farming door visit. Hi, this is blank with blank, and I'm here with another update on your home's value. Per usual, I'm not here to sell you anything. Very important that you emphasize that, okay? It's very important that you emphasize that you're not here to sell them anything. I'm just informing all of our neighbors of how our equity in our home has shifted in the last month. Watch. Again, such a critical sentence if you want them to stay on the phone or keep the door open. I'm just informing all of our neighbors of how our equity in our homes has shifted in the last month. You're talking about their savings account. You're talking about, in most cases, their most valuable asset. In the last 30 days, there's been 3 listings, 2 sales, and 1 just recently sold. And by the way, next month, we've got face painting around the pool. We've got photos with Santa. We've got this, blah, blah, blah. Remember the list of value? I'm going to show you some examples in just a second. And I'd love to invite you and your family. Would you like me to put you down for it? Perfect. Your email is, your phone number is. This is assuming you don't have it. Remember, the goal with hybrid farming the first goal of hybrid farming is to build the database. You're going to walk out of there, or you're going to finish a call session with extra contact information, phone numbers, and email addresses that you didn't have before. Finally, I'm keeping everyone informed of what's going on in the neighborhood via the Highland Lakes Community Facebook group. Are you in there? Scan the QR code. You're at the front door. Have them scan a QR code. You're over the phone. Go ahead and open up your Facebook app. I'll show you how to get in there. Go to Facebook. Click the magnifying glass in the right-hand corner. Yep, got it. Now search Highland Lakes Homes or whatever it's called. That's right. We've been teaching agents to build community Facebook groups for neighborhoods for years. Well, Jeff, what if there's already one exist? Create a second one. The one that already exists is probably boring and inactive. Create one that has activities. Listen, if you're going to be adding value to this neighborhood, people are going to want to be in the Facebook group. They have to be in your Facebook group in order to register for these activities. They have to be in your Facebook group in order to get the updates on what's going on in the market, in the community. So let the other HOA, the homeowner association Facebook group, they can talk about missing cats and garbage day changing. Yours is going to talk about fun, exciting things that you're doing for the neighborhood and value that you're adding. And at the end there, talk to you again next month. You're planting the seed that every month they're going to hear from you. Every month they're going to get value from you. By the way, if you're wondering, well, Jeff, how much time do I need to spend hybrid farming? We're talking 2-3 days a month. I mean, at the most, maybe 4 days between the calls and putting an event on. And you're not putting on an event every single month. We're talking 2-3 days a month. That's it. This is not like consuming your whole business. You're not changing your entire business model. You're not dedicating an entire week to this. The only time it's going to be a little bit more time is, if you're hosting the bingo night and you got to go get all the supplies. If you're hosting a pool party, you got to go get all the supplies. All right, let me share with you some examples of what's taking place. So the first things first, I want everyone to create a community guide. I want you to create a community guide because with the data that you have, you can create, under methods of circle prospecting, because we're going to go through the methods of circle prospecting and hybrid farming. I want you to create a custom audience for the neighborhood. And I want you to target them with certain things. Now, this one, you can target like a square mile or whatever. It doesn't have to be everyone that just lives in the neighborhood, but I want you to create a guide, a downloadable guide, a free download that you can advertise for free on Meta. And in order for people to get it, and you'll see some other examples those are other pages in the guide. But by the way, this whole thing was put together by ChatGPT. You don't have to build this yourself. You can create a guide, ChatGPT plus Canva. You can create a guide that you advertise as a free download. In order to download it, they have to give you their contact information. Now you're getting contact information and adding value simultaneously. Okay, there's a couple more pages in the guide, I believe. Yep, there we go. And then listen, it's not about you. There's only literally one page at the end about you. Oh, scan to find out your home's value, scan to join the Facebook group, scan to whatever. Make sure you're utilizing the QR codes in these guides. So just to recap that idea, you're creating a guide. Okay, you're running an ad to the neighborhood, or you're even dropping it in the Facebook group. You're even dropping it in the community Facebook group for people to download the community guide. That's one method. Another method is, of course, and there's, by the way, an example of a community Facebook group right there. Actual results taking place in the community Facebook group, Highland Lakes Community Group. Okay, there's an example of somebody actually saying, "Hey, can you send me the info on this?" Okay, there's Taylor using the selfie photo with the seller. You want to use the selfie photo with the seller. If you've been following Glover U, I've been teaching that. Why? Because other neighbors are going to recognize their neighbor. Hello, I see agents all the time. You're posting a front photo of a house as a teaser photo. Why would you do that? That can be your launch photo. Your teaser photo should be a photo with you and the seller. Why? Because other people in the community are going to recognize them. And it's going to help you get more engagement. Let me go through some more examples. Postcards, all right? If you saw on that 1 through 12, a couple times a year, we do mail to the community. And so if you're going to mail postcards to the community, make sure there's something of value. It can be a matter of just showing what other homes have sold in the community. It can be, hey, if you're going to do renovations, don't do anything until you read this, chocolate chip cookie day, whatever. Things of value, right? Next. Oh, I love these two, okay? The Northville Ridge food truck. Okay, this particular agent is coached by Glover U. She doesn't even live in this neighborhood. She doesn't even pay for the food on the truck, but she organizes the food trucks, as you can see there, each month. So guess what? She gets the credit for organizing the food trucks. That's part of hybrid farming, adding value in different ways other than just sending a postcard or a flyer with all the home sales in the neighborhood. That's part of it. Next, Northville Ridge Subwide Garage Sale, sponsoring the garage sales, sponsoring the ice cream happy hour at the pool. You can create a postcard, a social media image. Again, these are all things that are designed to provide value to a neighborhood. So that way the neighborhood actually doesn't just see you as a real estate agent who works the neighborhood. They see you as someone who they're going to know, like, and trust. Okay. If you're not going to do postcards, but maybe you want to do flyers because you're going to go around the door, you're going to go door to door in the neighborhood, you're going to use a circle prospecting script. Do not go door to door without adding some type of value. Okay. There's examples of flyers talking about a foundation. That's our foundation. If you support a foundation, promote a foundation. People like to do business with people who do good things for a community. Yeah. Paper shredding truck. I love that. Next. Oh, okay. We're going to get into this in just a second. One of the things that we've been doing to build our database quickly in a hybrid farm is getting people who follow us on social media to give us their contact information. And so this is part of hybrid farming, but really this is just general marketing. You could do this in any area, anytime you want to increase your amount of contacts from people who are watching your stuff. So if you think about it for a second, whether it's in your hybrid farm or not, people are watching your stuff, but you have no idea who it is. All right. You get 511 views on a video, but you had 13 comments and 27 likes. What happened to the other 470 people? And so we have figured out a way through social media to capture contact information of people who are regularly watching your stuff. Now, the reason why we teach this as part of hybrid farming is because if you pick a restaurant or a business or an establishment that's very well known to the neighborhood or community, guess whose contact information you're going to get? The people who are surrounding this business or this establishment. And so this is something that anybody could do. It's going to cost you $100 or $200. It's even better if you can collaborate with the restaurant, but now you can quickly gain contact information from people who live in and around the community. Why do I want their contact information? Because then I can create ads through Meta to run my community guide ads in front of, so they download my guide. So I even get more accurate information, such as their home address or such as their phone number. Here's an example of what I mean by doing a gift card giveaway to get more contact information of people who watch your stuff on social media.
Stop right here to win a $100 dinner to a West Michigan institution. We are at Turk's Tavern. This is one of the oldest eateries in all of Ottawa County. It's been around since 1933. It is well known for its classic decor, dim lighting, and of course the tremendous house-made food and drinks. If you know about this place, you already know. And even if you don't, I am now giving away 2 $100 gift cards to Turks. All you have to do to enter is share the post and comment Turks. So that will get you the link to register, and then we're going to do the drawing to announce the winner coming up on Friday, February 27th. I'm Realtor Dan Harland, celebrating all of West Michigan, coming to you from Turk's Tavern in Unica. Good luck in the drawing. We'll see you next time.
Okay, so if you couldn't figure this out by now, I want to share with you, I've given several different methods to hybrid farm. So write these down. We're using the good old-fashioned phone call and or text message. We're using social media. We're using gift card giveaways. Okay, that was a gift card giveaway. Turk's Tap Room? I don't even know where that is, but I bet the people that live around there do. Those are going to be the people that enter. So don't just give a Starbucks card giveaway or, an Applebee's gift card giveaway. People aren't going to want that anyways. Don't be generic with the stuff that you give away. Pick a local business around the community. Spotlight the local businesses around the community. Those are the people who follow them and do business with them, are the people that live in the neighborhood and in the community. Okay. Phone call, text message. All right. Sorry, Rosalie. Turks is a fun place. All right. Sorry. I've never been. All right. I'm going to get there. Okay. Phone call, text message, social media giveaway, direct to their door. Phone call, text message, social media giveaway. These are all the methods that you can use to hybrid farm. Direct to their door. Geofencing. Direct to their door. Geofencing, which is essentially sending ads to them through Google. You can also do it through Meta. Direct mail. Direct mail. And in-person events. You noticed several of those things. The focus was around getting people in person and in-person events. So the one other method that I want to share with you that's been very successful when paired with hybrid farming is because once you start doing consistent business in a neighborhood, I want to get even more sellers. I want to get in front of even more sellers. I want to get in front of even more neighbors. And so once you start doing a deal here and there, I want you to implement the Twilight Open House method. Yes, this is in addition to hybrid farming. You could do this in your business wherever, but Twilight Open Houses is a way to get in front of more neighbors. And so I'm going to have them throw up on the screen the steps, and we're going to go through them very quickly. Again, you're going to get the replay of this, but I'm going to have them throw on the screen the steps, starting with step 1 through 4 of a Twilight Open. So you can take a screen grab of this. I'm not going to go through all of these with you. You can watch these on the replay. But the bottom line is, if you're going to host a Twilight Open and you want to improve the size of your database in the neighborhood, you're going to want to make it a neighbors only open house. A Twilight Open is for the neighbors only. Okay. And I understand everyone's in a different state or different province. There's different rules on, when you can list, when you can start showing, when you can hold things open. Listen, this is just for the neighbors. This is just for the neighbors. So this is not anything that, you're not, in many cases, you're not conflicting with promoting. You're not promoting it publicly. This is just a party for the neighbors. You call it a Twilight Open. You're hosting it. You're going to do it on a Wednesday night or a Thursday night before the listing goes live. You want to talk about building a database with neighbors? They will show up. All right, go to the next slide. You'll see steps 5 through 8 on the next slide. Okay, again, this is just the how-to. For sake of time, I'm not going to go through all these steps. Feel free to do a screen grab of them. Listen, this is why I tell you, you got to get to, if you want the latest and greatest stuff that we're doing, you got to get to Glover U events. Okay, there's a reason why REDX sits not just in the vendor hall, they sit in the back of the room, not just because they're a good partner of ours and we do business with them and have used their resources since '05, by the way. That's when I first became a REDX customer, was back in '05. I'm a customer just like you. They sit in the back of the room so they can take notes on what I teach so they can go out and create systems to help you with that. I wouldn't be surprised if they've got something brewing for the Twilight Open House strategy, because that's what happened with hybrid farming. All right, and then finally, the next slide shows you the final steps. And that's step 9 through 12. You're going to use the Twilight Open House, which I'll get to that in just a second before we break. Again, do a screen grab of this or catch this on the replay. That way you can pause it after you see the replay. But if you want to build a hybrid farm with people that know you, like you, and trust you, always invite the neighbors to a neighborhood-only Twilight Open. Here's an idea of what the marketing looks like on the next slide. Notice how it says on the right-hand corner of the one on the left, neighbors only. The bottom left on the one on the right, neighbors only, cocktails and mocktails, Twilight Open House, VIP Twilight Preview, VIP Twilight Preview. Neighbors only. If you're wondering why the neighbors don't show up to your public open house, it's because you're calling it a public open house. It's an open house for everyone. You want to get in a relationship with the neighbors quickly and watch. Listen, I've never been a fan. I'm sorry for those who are. I've never been a fan of open houses. I've actually always avoided open houses until one day I was sitting back thinking, wait a minute. I've been a listing agent my whole life. Right now, I'm still taking 6 to 10 listings a month myself. I've been a listing agent my entire life. So when I think about how can I get more listings, hybrid farming was one of them. And part of hybrid farming was the Twilight Open, because I wanted to get into a relationship with the neighbors faster. Do you see the theme here? All of this is designed to put you in front of more neighbors than a silly postcard like they do in traditional farming. Agents that have been traditional farming neighborhoods for decades have spent years and years and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars, and you can go in and own a neighborhood in 12 months if you follow our plan. All right, the last couple slides are the script that I use to invite the neighbors. This is if I'm going around the neighborhood or if I'm calling the neighborhoods. Hey, your neighbors, the Johnsons, asked me to stop by and invite you to their Twilight Open. They asked me to stop by and invite you. Do you know why this works? Because I'm just the messenger. I'm not the realtor, the cheesy realtor trying to get as many people to my open house. I'm just the messenger. Right now, you probably say, hi, I'm so-and-so with so-and-so, and I want to invite you to our open house this weekend or later today. No. I'm just the messenger. I'm just stopping by on behalf of the homeowner. That's why that script works. And then finally, the next script is the Twilight Open House script that we use while we're there. I created this for you and agents all over North America because why? Well, because if I'm going to get neighbors showing up, I got to have a script for that. Because as you know, there's only really been a script for buyers who show up at open houses. I need a script for not just sellers, but I need a script for the neighbors. And so the one on the left is what I use if they identify themselves as a neighbor. The one on the right, I wrote that for you. We use it. It's proven. It works. We'll help you get more conversion when buyers show up to your open houses. Okay, so I covered with you hybrid farming. Before I let you go, I know I've mentioned you got to get to one of our Glover U events. If you joined us late, make sure you sign up for the daily message. If you haven't already, make sure you text morning to 55444. That's where I share a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff I share for free. Take advantage of it. And if you haven't already saved the date, the very next slide, and I know REDX will be there because they're always there, and you know, we support them, they support us. They'll be in the back of the room learning how to make their stuff better as we help everyone in the audience get better. January 18th through the 21st at the Gaylord Palms. We just announced it's in Orlando, Florida. We moved our event from Phoenix to Orlando. So yes, we are going to be in Orlando. For those of you that are on the West Coast, we will have a West Coast event again. I promise you that. I have a feeling in January we'll be announcing where that is. But if you want to get the latest and greatest stuff, if you want to learn what we're doing, there's going to be 1,500 to 2,000 agents from all over North America in this room. All brokerages, all brands are represented. Save the date. Go get an early bird ticket price. Most events today are $1,000, $1,299, $99, $999, $1,499. Your early bird price is $449. People are like, Jeff, how do you even make money on that event? We don't. The last event we lost $280,000 on. Why? Because I'm in it for the long term. I know that if I help enough people get what they want, eventually I'll get to have what I want. All right. So my name's Jeff Glover from Detroit, Michigan. I thank you guys so much for joining us. I'm going to pass it over to Hannah from REDX. She's going to share with you how to get some of this data that I've been talking about and some ways that REDX can help you make this a lot easier on you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jeff. We really appreciate you joining us today. If you haven't already downloaded Jeff's scripts, grab those. They're always so fresh. It's the best approach. Twilight Open, love that. Super excited to work on that. But Jeff's right. We attend events so that we can sit in the back of the room and implement and make things better for you guys. One of the cool things that we did that Jeff was mentioning is inside of GeoLeads, we actually set a filter so that you could check the turnover rate of the neighborhood that you're wanting to prospect, that you're wanting to hybrid farm. So check that out. On Thursday, everyone's going to get an invite to join Tyler Finn, who is our VP of Training and Education. He's going to show you how to implement the hybrid farming strategy using Vortex. So if you don't have GeoLeads and you want that data, get started today, get signed up, and then join us on Thursday. Watch your inbox for that invite. We'll go ahead and throw it on your calendar following. Jeff, again, thank you so much. We're grateful for your time as always.
Yeah, super happy to be here. And I just want to make sure everyone understands we couldn't do what we do in business. I couldn't do what I'm teaching today if it weren't for REDX. So listen, if they've got it, I can promise you they've probably ran it past us and gotten our 2 cents on how to make it better. So if you believe in what I'm teaching, then I promise you, you will get a lot of value from what they have to offer at REDX. That's the reason why we're a customer first.
Absolutely. We appreciate that, Jeff. All right, everyone, have an awesome afternoon. We'll see you on Thursday.
See you guys.